Hey everyone, this is Dmitry Balkovsky and I'm trying to introduce more structured format for my videos. I will be doing news and commentary in a more structured way, like news releases on Russia, from Russia, and I'll try doing something that does not appear in foreign language media, but something that will help you to understand my country. There is still a lot of misunderstanding, ignorance, and deliberate obfuscation when it comes to Russia and things Russian, even though right now there are excellent media people like To Alexis, Christopher, and Mercurius, the new Atlas. They're doing a great job of explaining Russia, and I highly recommend them. They have the best resources right now on international politics and economics, but even these fine gentlemen sometimes say things in their presentations that are imprecise and somewhat biased. And even if the bias is often pro-Russian, I still do not like it, because Russia is no paradise. It is a difficult and obscure place. She kind of casts a spell on her admirers, but I'm trying to be as objective as I can, and I'm inside the country, so if you have questions, need help understanding or interpreting economic or political news, from here, write to me on my WhatsApp and Telegram, also in the description below. And please subscribe, like, and comment. It helped me to promote the channel. It's really a good time to grow a number of subscribers and views. So let us call this series Simply Russian News and see how it goes. And my topics for today: Russian authorities react to another round of the disease not to be mentioned on YouTube. You know what I'm talking about. That struck the motherland in August, innovation in applications of criminal law, thanks to our Chechen comrades, and some extremely conservative initiatives of Russian lawmakers. So let us begin. So today is the 19th of August, and we have this beautiful headline: Russia diagnosed more than 37,000 cases of the unmentionable disease, first time since March this year. But rephrasing a famous pop song, what a difference half a year made, because there is no hysteria really, neither among the public nor among the governing classes, and the public hysteria was really whipped up by the government in the past 2 years, in 20 and 21. And as it often happens in Russia, you really have to look for small clues that tell you the whole story. And I'll show you several of these. And the first such clue is the absence of the unmentionable disease stats on the first page of mail.ru, which is Russia's primary email and news portal. They used to be right here where the weather is, and they used to be really noticeable, but then around May they just dropped them quietly because people didn't really care, so there was no point in having them here. And if you scroll down, you don't really see them anywhere. It's all these blog posts and all that stuff. So that's a big thing. And Russia's national search engine Yandex doesn't have them in the very middle here. Remove them from the very middle. They used to be right here, right in the middle on the first page. They put them on the right side. As you can see here they are, these stats. They're small, they're barely noticeable. So these are the signs. And the official representative of Rospotrebnadzor, which is the Russian analog of the American FDA, they do drug and food safety and infectious diseases as well, just declared on 13th of August, and I quote, "The situation is not critical, therefore there is no need to introduce any restrictions on the federal level," said Natalia Pshenichная. Yet the number of diagnosed cases is growing, and several Russian regions, mostly in Siberia, reintroduced face coverings. Let me put it this way. Oh, here you see the name. Here you see the name. Oh, here you see what the disease is called. Oh, my Lord. It's unmentionable. The unmentionable disease. One of them is Buryatia, which is a region in the south of Siberia, ethnic region. The president of this region in 2020 and 21 was one of the rabid face coverers, restrictors, liquid medicine in the arm, promoters, and all that stuff. So they reintroduced face coverings, and it appears that it is mandatory. You cannot really tell from the announcement, you know? You cannot really tell. It's just, you know, they're being very, very careful, Russian officials, with this crap. But let us look at other regions that reintroduced these measures. And there is a keyword here, рекомендовали, which means recommended. In Kuzbaz, the aged and entrepreneurs, because they deal with people, they're recommended to wear face covering. Recommended. Another Siberian region is Khakassia, and they're recommended. Recommend. And the only European region among them is Nizhny Novgorod, this magic word here as well. There is going to be no goon squads running around and finding people for not using with a cloth their face, you know, like it used to be. So this word recommended is the key here, because powers that be do not want to roil the people for nothing. So all these restrictions are unenforceable, really. And everyone understands. People in the government understand it, and people on the ground do not believe it. So that's pretty much it. We, of course, are going to see what's going to happen in the future, but I'm pretty sure that this is going to burn out very soon. And this is going to be like a last breath of this whole thing, even though it's barely noticeable, even at the moment, because nobody really cares. And believe it or not, we should thank for this easing of crazy measures, not our great leader or the government or the Duma, the parliament, but our own average Russians, because you're probably unaware of it. Very few people outside of Russia are, but there was a huge grassroots resistance movement against all these repressive measures, and it peaked in the autumn and early winter last year, when Russian authorities tried to push through a comprehensive QR code package which would restrict all movements inside the country, even between regions, even inside cities and towns. According to this legislation, you were supposed to get a QR code for anything, pretty much, except going to a shop or to a pharmacy. And there was a huge wave of resentment, huge. It was enormous. On Telegram, there were several thousand new channels popped into existence. They were discussing it in the parliament, these measures, in November, in December, and the parliament website crashed several times. There were over 600,000 signatures gathered against them. And it was the first time when the Duma really caved into the demands of the citizens, because before that, Russia has passed lots of repressive measures over the past 10 years. Some of them are somewhat justified, some of them are completely unjustified, but all of them were passed. And this QR code legislation was introduced by several leading senators who were like, you know, they always took the legislative initiatives to their completion. They always finished the business once it was started. And this time, December 2021, they hit the brick wall. This law had two parts. One was on QR coding on transport. It was dropped first at the beginning of January. And in mid-January, they just completely canceled it and forgot about it. They canceled all restrictions in Moscow in March this year. And federal restrictions were completely canceled in July. Should really thank Russian people for that. That was the birth of Russian civil society, actually, I would say. I would go that far. to call this date, December 2021, the date of birth of Russian civil society. Because right now it is flourishing, it's getting stronger, even though there are restrictions. It's a different issue we will discuss some other time, but people are feeling more confident actually in many ways, even though there is war on. And there is a huge surge of conservatism in Russia. The Russian parliament announced that they will pass laws banning propaganda of quote-unquote untraditional values this autumn. And there is going to be a huge wave of support for it from the public and from the legislators. So that's a sure sign of a conservative surge. And there are places in Russia where conservative values are being pushed from the grassroots, actually. This funny and somewhat striking video shows two young Chechens, these two bearded guys, pushing a mentally retarded gentleman into a dumpster. And now you see them apologizing for this. They, of course, published it on social media, as every idiot in this world today do. They do something bad, and they brag about it. But this video was noticed by quote-unquote their big brothers, and they forced these two beautiful creatures into a dumpster and made them apologize for what they did to this innocent guy. They basically mumbled from a dumpster that they committed an unworthy act and Allah punished them, which was probably true. And this is not the first case of people apologizing in this humiliating way, because even before that, the vice premier of the Chechen government, Jambulat Umarov, said that public apologies on camera are very useful and should be adopted everywhere in Russia. This is what he says here. He believes that it makes no difference whether apologies are sincere or not, because the perpetrator will be punished by the negative reaction from such an apology, and I completely agree with Mr. Umarov. A very, very good thing to do. It should be introduced all over Russia, and I can only add that this is much preferable to putting them in jail for 14 days, as they do for petty hooliganism here. Let us not feed the corrupt justice system and police and all these people. It just doesn't make any sense. Beautiful initiative. So tell me what you think in the comments below. Please subscribe, like. This was Dmitry the Russian.